In the quiet town of Nsukka, Nugu State, southeastern Nigeria, lived a young girl named Jane. Her life had barely begun when it was violently torn apart. Both of her parents were mysteriously murdered in their sleep. Neighbors whispered in hushed tones, but nothing ever came out of the investigation. No arrests, no suspects, no justice, only grief and an orphaned child. Jane was just 8 years old. With no one else to care for her, she was taken in by her late father's younger sister, Auntie Gloria, a woman praised for her generosity, fashion, and fervent religiosity. The community adored her. To outsiders, Gloria was the definition of a good woman. To Jane, she became mother. Years passed. When Jane turned 21, Auntie Gloria gathered the family for a small farewell dinner. She had arranged everything for Jane to travel abroad, to study, work, and begin a new life in Europe. As they embraced the night before her flight, Auntie Gloria handed Jane a small velvet pouch. "My daughter," she said softly, "this bead will protect you, but you must do exactly as I say." Jane nodded. "When you land in Europe, before you enter your house, place the bead on the ground. Step on it with your right foot, then pick it up and never let it go. Keep it safe. Hide it if you must, but never lose it." Jane blinked. "Why?" Auntie Gloria smiled tightly. "It's for your foundation, so you will always be rooted. You'll understand later." Grateful and trusting, Jane did exactly as she was told. At first, everything seemed fine. Doors opened. Her studies went smoothly. She got a good job. She succeeded where others struggled, but something wasn't right. No matter how much she earned, she couldn't explain how the money vanished. Financial holes swallowed her earnings. Every new beginning quickly turned into a frustrating loop. Her life moved, but nothing moved forward. She was stuck. Meanwhile, her cousins, Auntie Gloria's children back in Nigeria, were flourishing, building houses, driving luxury cars, living well. But Jane, despite living in Europe, couldn't afford even the cheapest plot of land back home. And yet, through it all, she remained loyal to Auntie Gloria, reporting every decision, every success, every struggle. It often felt like her life was being remote controlled. 10 years into her fruitless life abroad, Jane returned to Nigeria to visit Auntie Gloria. During a trip to the market, they ran into an elderly woman, Mrs. Okafor, one of Auntie Gloria's old friends. "So this is the girl living abroad?" she asked, smiling at Jane. "Yes," Jane replied politely. As Auntie Gloria moved away to negotiate with a trader, Mrs. Okafor leaned in quickly and whispered, "When you return abroad, don't stay in that country. Move to another one. Don't tell anyone. Just obey." Jane's heart skipped. "Ma, what are you talking about?" "Just do it," Mrs. Okafor said. "You'll understand later." Before Auntie Gloria returned, she asked for Jane's number. Jane gave it, and they parted ways. That night, Jane told her aunt about the encounter. The reaction was explosive. "You're listening to a mad woman in the market? An outsider? You should have rained curses on her for even saying that." Gloria fumed. "You want to relocate without telling me? Who does she think she is?" She immediately called Mrs. Okafor and lashed out with insults, calling her jealous, envious, and bitter. Then she hung up. Jane had never seen her aunt like that. The warning grows louder. Later that night, Mrs. Okafor called Jane. Her voice was heavy. "You reported me to Gloria, and she insulted me. It's fine. But this will be the last time I'll ever call you, unless you do the right thing." Jane was shaken. Few days later, Jane traveled back to Europe, but disturbed with the drama of Amman. She leaving the country she was to another, and she made one personal decision without confiding on Auntie Gloria anymore for the first time in her entire life. A few months later, Jane secretly booked a return flight to Nigeria. This time, she attended a prophetic revival in Lagos. She told no one, not even her closest friends. On the second day of the program, a prophet walked up to her during worship. "You live in Europe, yes?" She nodded. "There's something someone gave you long ago. You were told to keep it for protection. You may not even remember where it is now, but it's a spiritual anchor. That's what has kept your life tied down." Jane's heart pounded. "A bead from my auntie, but I don't even remember where I kept it." The man nodded. "When you return, find it, burn it, then relocate to another country. And don't tell a single soul, not even family. That's the only way out." Back in Europe, Jane began packing in silence. She opened an old drawer, and there it was, the bead, the same one she had stepped on, the same one she had kept for a decade. As she touched it, her chest grew tight. She called the prophet and told him she found the bead. "That's it," he said. "Burn it, and until you leave the country, don't pick any call." She struck a match. As the bead began to burn, her phone rang. Again, again. It was Auntie Gloria. 21 missed calls in 5 minutes. Jane turned off her phone and watched the bead turn to ashes. The next morning, Jane flew to a new European country. As she settled in, her phone rang again. It was Auntie Gloria. Jane picked the call, and what she heard next was, "Where are you?" "Auntie Gloria," she screamed. Jane answered calmly, "I'm in another country." There was a sudden shift in Gloria's voice, like a wounded animal. "Leave there now! Go back immediately! Do you want to kill me?" That was when Jane knew. She tried to call Mrs. Okafor, but there was no response. The next morning, Jane's phone rang again. It was Mrs. Okafor. "My daughter, have you moved?" "Yes, ma." A pause. "Then you are free." Jane's voice trembled. "Free from what?" "She's dead." "Who?" "Your aunt, Gloria. She died this morning." Jane's knees buckled. "The bead she gave you?" Mrs. Okafor continued. "It was a spiritual tether. She tied your destiny to hers. She killed your parents to access the stars in your father's lineage. You were her sacrifice. You were never meant to succeed." Jane wept. Freedom and prosperity. From that day forward, everything changed. Her immigration papers were approved, her finances made sense, she bought land, started a business. Few months later, Jane traveled down to Lagos, Nigeria, to testify to the goodness of God in church. God gave her direction to victory. She never called Auntie Gloria's children again. "A child of a witch," she said, "is still a witch." She wasn't bitter. She wasn't angry. She was finally free. Moral of the story: not every helper is sent by God. Some gifts are chains, some love is a leash. When God sends a warning, don't delay. Obedience is deliverance. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment your observation and suggestions in the comments section. Share and tap the notification button to get notified for more. Thanks, Tales by L'Oreal's Cares.